Outside Nigeria, the Union flag is flying at half-mast over royal residencies and public buildings after Buckingham Palace announced the death of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. He was 99 years old and had been married to Queen Elizabeth II for 74 years. The Queen will go into an 8-day period of mourning following the death of the Duke of Edinburgh, which was announced earlier today in a statement issued by Buckingham Palace. Foreign Affairs correspondent Moyo Thomas reports.
Born on the 10th of June 1921 as Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark, his family was exiled when he was still a baby. His early education was in France and Germany and the United Kingdom. He joined the British Royal Navy in 1939. His engagement to Queen Elizabeth II was announced in July 1947, and they eventually got married on November 20, 1947, after he denounced his Greek and Danish titles. King George VI handed him the style His Royal Highness just before he got married. He became the Duke of Edinburgh on the 6th of February 1952 when Princess Elizabeth became the Queen. 5 years after, he was made a British prince with royal style and title as His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. He was in active service with his wife, Queen Elizabeth II, until his retirement in 2017. He died early hours of the 9th of April 2021. Encomiums and condolences have been pouring in since the announcement of his death. His death starts Operation Fourth Bridge, his funeral rites. The Union Jack, national flag of the United Kingdom, will fly at half-mast until after his funeral. Moyo Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, to talk more on this, I have joining me a broadcast journalist, Tetteh Kofi. He joins from London. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at
it's my pleasure.
7.
It's my pleasure on a sad occasion.
Indeed, 73 long years alongside the Queen. What would you say Prince Philip would be remembered for?
Well, I mean, he was a masterclass in honour, duty and service. He's the longest lasting consort of any British queen. His queen is still the longest serving queen ever in the history of the United Kingdom. To think that this man performed 20,000, that's 20,000 royal engagements throughout his life, and he only stopped when he really became quite elderly and infirm. And aside from that, he had quite an illustrious career in the Royal Navy. Many people don't know that he came top of his class at the Royal Navy Academy at Dartmouth. And by the age of 19, he was on active service on a warship in the Second World War. In fact, he was credited with saving his ship from almost certain destruction by some very clever tactical work in the Mediterranean during that war. But the other thing he'll really be remembered for is that he set up this scheme called the Duke of Edinburgh scheme, which put tens of thousands of children from the United Kingdom and also from around the world through an adventure training system, which helped them develop, qualities like leadership, resilience, a sense of responsibility, and also how to work as a team. Many of our children, my children included, took part in the Duke of Edinburgh scheme. So quite apart from everything else, I mean, the man touched many, many lives.
Touched many lives. Well, let's talk about his relationship with the media while he was here. At some point, he labeled the media the bloody reptiles. That's one tag that people keep remembering him for. Let's talk about that relationship with the media.
Well, I mean, as you bring it up, I'm really mindful that, as a person who is African myself, there is a robust respect for the departed. But you cannot talk about the Duke of Edinburgh without mentioning his gaffes. In fact, journalists like myself, whenever the Duke went abroad, would go on what we called a gaff watch, waiting for him to drop some kind of bombshell. And there were many that he dropped. I'll share a couple with you. Once he went on a state visit to China and met some British people over there in China. And he was extraordinarily heard to say that, look, if you stay here too long, you will also have slitty eyes. That was one example. When he went to a factory which had just been modernized on a state visit, and the proprietors of the new factory were showing him how the new wiring looked like by comparison to the old. I mean, he looked at the old wiring and he said, that looks like something that was done by an Indian. So, of course, these statements made people cringe. And, of course, it's rationalized by saying that he was a product of empire. He was born in 1921. He himself was born royal, a prince of Denmark and a prince of Greece. And so he was certainly of a mindset which made him understand his privileges. But the thing that people will always kind of reflect on is the fact that, royal though he was, he managed to, if you like, swallow his pride, walk behind the Queen. His children don't have his own surname. And for an alpha male type of personality, which the Duke of Edinburgh was, this was a lot to swallow. And that's why many people think that he was a masterclass in honor, service, and duty that he performed really rather well.
Mr. Kofi, I'm afraid we might have to just end the conversation here. Perhaps there'll be some other time to talk about the life and times of the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. Broadcast journalist Tetteh Kofi, thank you very much for joining us on TVC News at 7.
Pleasure.